This video is brought to you by Squarespace. Squarespace is an all-in-one website platform for entrepreneurs to stand out and succeed online. Whether you're just starting out or managing a growing brand, Squarespace makes it easy to create a beautiful website, engage with audiences, and sell anything from products to content to time. All in one place, all on your terms. I just ate a fondant fancy and it was delicious. Yay. What a good way to start the video. Hey Spuds, how's it going? It's Jamie. Welcome back to another video. Is this your first video or not? I don't care. Welcome either way. I'm really glad to have you here. Thank you for clicking on it. I hope you're gonna have a good time today with this video. Yay. And talking of good, today we are looking at good trans anatomy, which isn't always related to anatomy of trans people, but it's just generally like positive, good vibe things that have been happening for the trans community, that people have said about the trans community, allies doing good stuff that they should be doing, and just yay, some positive trans stuff for your timeline today. I hope you're gonna enjoy it. Are you ready? Just so it's not a jump scare, JK Rowling's face will be on screen, but I promise you it is about something good, which I know sounds surprising. Laser Clinic offers discount on Harry Potter tattoo removals in support of trans rights. A laser clinic in Manchester is making headlines after offering a special promotion aimed at helping fans move on from their Harry Potter themed tattoos and making a bold statement in support of trans rights. My favorite thing that anybody ever wrote was just this like sentence where they were like, you know, there'll be a higher regret rate for Harry Potter themed tattoos than there will be for gender affirming care and transitioning.
That is so true.
So, you know, tattoos, something permanent, and unfortunately, people turn out to be bigots sometimes, which makes the tattoo rather unsavory. Chapel Rowan. I love Chapel Rowan's music. I got to see her live at Reading. There's very few people that I'm like, I must go to that concert and see them live. And I didn't get tickets to when she was doing a standalone thing in the UK, I think September 24. And then we got tickets to Reading. And I was like, oh my God, it's everything I hope for and more. Anyway, also, massive trans ally. I'm so excited to announce at Midwest Princess Project, an organization we've launched to provide support and needed resources for trans youth and LGBTQ+ communities. The Midwest Princess Project already raised over $400,000 at my Visions of Damsels and Other Dangerous Things pop-up shows, and those funds will be donated to incredible organizations making a positive impact for trans youth in their communities. Amazing! Outside of transaction fees to host the donation page and limited costs for my team to effectively manage the project, we have committed to donating every dollar possible to the organizations that need it most. Follow and support our ongoing efforts by donating if you can at midwestprincessproject.org. I say this quite a lot where we're in that stage where cis ally voices are so needed to support the trans community, because trans voices are just not uplifted enough or listened to enough, that it's the cis allies right now that can have the biggest impact and make that space and that platform for trans voices eventually to be able to just, you know, speak for ourselves. That would be lovely, but super appreciate the cis allies out there not just saying trans rights, but also setting up things like this. And I think Chapel Rowan has done a lot of other things and generally supporting trans people, as well as actually financially helping trans organizations. Yay. Biology doesn't care about your feelings. XX equals woman, XY equals man. Everything else is word games. That's the bad bit, okay? But hold on. Somebody's replied to that saying XX equals female, XY equals male, XO equals Turner, female, XXX equals triple X, female, XXXX equals tetrasomy X, female, and then 5X's is pentasomy X, female, XXY is Klinefelter, male. There's loads of different ones, so you can see all the different variants here. I'm not going to read through them all, but basically sex is not binary, and that is the point that scientists and medical professionals and trans people and intersex people have been trying to tell transphobes for the longest time, that sex is not binary. And this person's also ended this by saying, oh, and sex isn't gender, class dismissed. It's really true. Somebody can have XX chromosomes, be assigned female at birth, but not be a woman. Hello, trans men. If you know your chromosomes, that is, because being intersex and having chromosomes that are not what you would typically expect is more common than people think it is. And I think a lot of transphobes would be really surprised. I would actually really enjoy it if all the transphobes out there just had to take a DNA test to check their chromosomes, because I think a lot of them would be like, oh, it's like there was this advert where a bunch of kind of mildly racist or like incredibly patriotic white people did a DNA test to see where their ancestry was from, and the amount of them that were like,
yeah,
I don't think it was British, but like they'd be like,
yeah, I'm English through and through.
And then it's like, actually, you have a grandparent that was from India. And they're like,
oh, right.
I feel like the same would happen with TERFs. It's like,
yeah, XX is woman. I am woman because I'm XX. Wait, I'm XY something. I'm XXY. I'm triple X.
I don't know. And they'd be like,
oh, shit.
maybe it's not black and white. Hailey Bieber to trolls saying she looks trans. Do you think that's a diss? I really don't know much about Hailey Bieber at all, other than the fact that she's with Justin Bieber. And then I don't really know much about Justin Bieber other than the fact he does music. Oh, and that there was a Tumblr called Lesbians That Look Like Justin Bieber when I was a teenager. This is hilarious. But that's giving very Lady Gaga energy in that moment. Some of the most beautiful women in the world and men in the world are trans. While appearing on the podcast In Your Dreams with Owen Thiele, Hailey Bieber shared that people sometimes try to disparage her by saying she looks like a trans person. However, she made it very clear that saying that is nowhere near an insult to her, as it should not be. It really helps you form an idea in your mind of how these transphobic people view trans people, where they use being trans as a diss generally, and most commonly towards women, they use calling a woman trans as some kind of diss on her physical appearance, as if to be kind of synonymous with saying that she's manly or not attractive or blah blah blah. And it's like, you have such a skewed perception, and you are very misogynistic as well, of like what expectations of people should be, which is none of your business, and you should not be holding those for other people, but also what trans people look like and the importance and the beauty and natural variation, and the fact that a lot of the time things like beauty are subjective and different people find different levels of femininity and masculinity attractive, and also somebody else being attractive to you isn't really going to be high up on their priorities, especially if you're a troll and a bigot. So I think that's a very good response. We're going to pop back to revisiting a JK Rowling thing, but again, it's positive, don't worry. And I'm going to put all the other JK Rowling things together so that there's no more Rowling jump scares. Glamour magazine in the UK this year did a front cover Women of the Year celebration of trans women wearing Protect the Dolls t-shirts. Very cool. We love a brand that allies non-performatively. And basically, JK Rowling tweeted about this and said, "I grew up in an era when mainstream women's magazines told girls they needed to be thinner and prettier. Now mainstream women's magazines tell girls that men are better women than they are." Only if you're a bigot who's just hugely twisted in their perception of the world. But British Glamour replied saying, "Better luck next year, Joe. We love a brand with a backbone." Oh yes, we do. We love a brand who's not afraid to troll the bigots back and to not put up with their shit. Like, this is a really common trajectory for transphobes, and this all started with JK Rowling being like an accidental like tweet. "I will stand with trans people if you're discriminated against." And it's like, if, please, come on.
Get real.
And then saying that there was like respect for adult trans people, but wanting to like protect children and women's spaces, and now just fully devolved into calling trans women men. The shittery. And someone who does not put up with the shittery is Margaret Cho, who posted this on her TikTok.
Shut up, JK Rowling. Shut up. You're a joke. That's why your name is JK, because you are a joke. Your anti-trans rhetoric makes me sick. You are despicable. I hope that when you face menopause, you have to take a lot of gender-affirming care, as I do. And when you're taking these hormones, they make your grow out so thick and hard, it's like steel wool. And if anybody goes down it, they get a face full of scars. I hope they start calling you Barb Wire. Shut up, JK Rowling.
Shut up. Honestly, I think a lot of bigots like miss out on so much beauty in life and the world by being so close-minded, and also just refusing to acknowledge that things that they're campaigning for are going to harm them. If you're trying to restrict like gender affirming care and what is gender affirming care and people's access to it, I tell you, these like really misogynistic men are not going to stop at restricting things for trans people, because what we're already seeing is this pushback against trans people in public spaces, particularly trans women. It's impacting cis women as well. So don't be buying this bullshit of like, oh,
yeah, I'm transphobic, but it's because I'm a feminist.
No, you can't be transphobic and a feminist, because feminism needs to include all women, which yes, includes trans women. But also these transphobic feminists don't even do anything for feminism. They are just transphobic. So it's nice to see some people just being like, shut the fuck up. Emma Thompson. I have a TikTok of Emma Thompson autographing stuff, and it's not like a direct call out, but like when you compare it to reactions of people like Keira Knightley, which are not so great, it's also good to just see people trying to not give it attention.
Miss Thompson, can you please sign? Miss Thompson?
Hi. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do one each, okay? Because these are all Harry Potter stuff, and I'm bored, and they're not sort of real things. Thank you. So that's you guys. Oh, use that pen. So that's
And at first I was like, why are people getting Emma Thompson to sign Harry Potter stuff? But it's because she was a character in that. But I think Harry Potter as a whole is getting boring as well, regardless of the bigotry of the creator. And I think we still need to call out the transphobia, but if we could stop highlighting Harry Potter so much and putting so much attention on it, there are better things to be obsessed with. Election night proved Democrats don't need to abandon trans people to win. The elections this past Tuesday night served as a lesson for Democrats across the United States after a night of historic wins, including Zoran Mamdani in New York City, Erica Doiso in Pennsylvania, and Abigail Spanberger in Virginia. One thing has become clear: you don't need to cave on transgender rights to win an election. It would have been simple if misguided political calculus for Mamdani to back away from trans rights to shore up support among moderates in the face of such personal attacks, but he did just the opposite. Mamdani stood by his plan to dedicate a combined $65 million to gender-affirming medical care and programs to access that care, then writer Samantha Riedel writes. Democrats don't lose by showing respect for trans people, they lose when they allow Republicans to set the terms of the trans debate by buying into conservative transphobia or by offering no meaningful alternative. I think the problem is, so many of these politicians who are left-wing are not realizing how small the minority of the general population are actually transphobic. The tiny amount of people that actually would be swayed in an election by whether somebody is transphobic is smaller than the number that would be more likely to vote for somebody because they have trans positive views. I think people like J.K. Rowling being such a loud vocal presence is partly why things have been swayed to seeming like there's a lot more transphobia on like a general population level than there actually is. A majority of people do not care. They range from extremely supportive to just totally neutral and would not be swayed in an election really either way. And this percentage of people who are actually really transphobic to the point where it is so important to them in an election is ridiculous. Those people are that transphobic, they're also going to expect homophobic politicians, racist politicians, anti-immigration politicians, non-taxing of billionaire, like just they're not going to give a shit about anything except like these really stupid, bigoted points. So why a left-wing party would bring transphobia into their politics, I have no idea why, because they are not ever going to win the vote of moderates and the right by doing that. That is not what they need to do. They need to stick firm on the left-wing policies and not alienate those voters, because you're going to do a lot more damage by being transphobic than by being trans positive. It's so weird that some politicians have become absolutely deluded into the fact that they think that the crux of whether they're going to win or lose an election is based on transphobia. They need to hate on such a tiny minority in society to appease an even smaller number of disgusting bigots in order to win an election, because that is the most stupid plan I've ever heard. And taking a little break from the good news, I have other exciting news. It's that time of year again, coming up to Christmas, the end of the year, and we're looking forward to entering the new year of 2026. And 2025 has been quite the year. Personally, I have been busier than a pigeon on a Paris runway. Not only did I launch an entire new channel all about books, media, fashion, and my passion interest, you can go subscribe, it's Jamie Rains, I will leave a link somewhere downstairs. But I also started and very gracefully retired 11 new, entirely real and not at all made up businesses. So today we're taking a look back at the ghosts of businesses past and the entrepreneurial chaos that 2025 has been. Thank you Squarespace for sponsoring today's video and making all of these businesses possible. So in the year of 2025, I have been a professional pizza taster. You could crust me, I always delivered. Founder of a frog watching club. It was totally riveting. The visionary behind Bean World, the bean themed theme park. It truly was unbeanleavable. I've also been a head teacher of a hamster school, providing tiny life skills for tiny floofs. The owner of a Pride pasta restaurant. From trans tortellini to pansexual penne, I served carbs with pride and pesto-tivity. A seagull decoy bodyguard, keeping your snacks safe. Talk about winging it. A pigeon fashion designer, bringing couture to the birdwalk and leaving no feather unfabulous. Founder of the odd sock adoption agency, reuniting lonely lefties with their perfect pairs. A true soulmate service. The seller of emotional support cacti for when life needs a little prick-me-up. The To-Don't List Pro, helping you procrastinate with purpose. And finally, CEO of a novelty toilet roll subscription, because when shit happens, we've got your backside. I want to know which one was your favorite from this past year. I do personally think mine has to be the pigeon fashion designer. And of course, none of these glorious yet slightly questionable ventures would have been at all possible without Squarespace. Thank you so much, Squarespace, for sponsoring today's video. And Squarespace is the all-in-one website platform that can bring any idea to life. It is absolutely bursting with amazing features, meaning that whatever wild idea pops into your head at 3 a.m, bean-based toilet roll subscription, emotional support cactus or not, you'll be able to turn it into a real website. One feature that saved my tail feathers again and again this year was Squarespace's cutting edge design tools. They mean that anyone can build a unique website that actually makes an impact. You can even use Squarespace's Blueprint AI, the AI enhanced website builder, to create a fully customized site faster than a hamster student skipping class, which they did quite frequently. Once you've planned your website and sorted all your pages, you can use Squarespace's asset library to upload, organize, and access everything from one place. It's like an odd sock drawer, but actually organized. I can manage all my files from one central hub and use them across the whole Squarespace platform. And now with all of these very real and totally genuine businesses that I absolutely definitely set up throughout 2025, I'm sure you'll be absolutely bursting to find out what I'm doing for the big 2025 finale. But especially because last year I made a genuinely real downloadable trans meme calendar for 2025. Well, drum roll please. This year, I'm also doing something very real. I'm not creating a final fake business for 2025. There'll be something very tangible coming soon. I'll be launching on Charbonneau's very real Squarespace website that we've had for multiple years. And to help keep the secret, I've been using Squarespace's password and page locks. These let me build sneaky new pages before launch and keep them hidden away. You have to catch my next Squarespace video this month on December 17th to find out exactly what you can get your hands on. And trust me, I think it's worth the wait. So whatever your website idea, whether you're building a community, starting a business, or just giving something fun a go, Squarespace lets you turn any idea into a website. To get yourself started, go to squarespace.com for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/Jammidodger for 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Now let's get back to the very good, lovely trans anatomy. Are you ready? Zoe Saldana says her Amelia Perez Oscar is trans. The statue goes by they, them. Nobody's got time for this right now, Zoe. It's not really the way you make up for the train wreck that was Amelia Perez. You tried. Donald Trump. Transition to greatness. Wiener is gone. I think they're genuine tweets that somebody's made seem trans-coded.
Transition to greatness.
Give it a go. Why not? I love Bud Light. I don't give a shit who their spokesman is. Gay, T-slur. It does not matter to me. Everyone has a right to be happy. If you can find love in this up world, good for you. I'm drinking Bud Light. This should be the party line on gay and trans. Again, you tried. I feel like this is the attitude of so many people. Not quite to the extent of using the T-slur, which we will not excuse, but we would educate on the fact that it is not appropriate to use that. But I do think a lot of people are like, I don't give a shit. Just let people live their lives. If you are happy, great. You're not hurting anybody else, great. Trans people don't hurt anybody else, cool. Get on with being trans, I don't care. I think that's the attitude of a lot of people. We could do with a little less apathy because there's such a loud pushback against trans people right now, but yeah, the transgender kids are all right. Study shows they have good mental health if they're allowed to be themselves. It doesn't get much simpler than that. That is just the simple truth, and it's the truth for everybody. But for some reason, there needs to be studies on it and peer-reviewed papers coming out of our assholes to show this about trans people. If trans people, including trans kids, are allowed to be themselves and have access to the appropriate gender-affirming care, they are happier. That is it. Cis people, bigoted cis people, you can shut up now. You have been proven wrong so many times. AOC to anti-trans swimmer Riley Gaines. Maybe if you channeled all this anger into swimming faster, you wouldn't have come fifth. Riley Gaines has turned a fifth place finish into a national conservative platform against transgender rights. Oh yeah, isn't she the one that in a swimming competition was competing against a trans woman? A trans woman came higher in the race than fifth, and Riley Gaines came fifth and has turned that into like,
I was robbed by a trans woman. Trans women shouldn't be competing in women's sports
kind of vibe. I do agree. I think a lot of transphobes could take this advice of maybe if you channeled all of your anger and all of this time that you spend hating on a tiny marginalized group of people within society, maybe your life would actually be fulfilling in another way, that you wouldn't have to be such a hateful bigot. Maybe you could find a little bit of joy and happiness. Transgender people are 19 times more likely to do something that YouTube would not want me to say out loud. What does that tell you? People need to be kinder. Yes. Because people like to use this statistic about trans people as a,
well, they shouldn't have transitioned. See, it doesn't help.
But it really does, because transitioning does increase mental health, but also society acceptance and acceptance from family and friends is also crucial. If people do not have any acceptance, they will struggle more than those who have acceptance. Having acceptance from your friends, family, being less discriminated against in society generally ultimately also leads to better mental health. So yes, the statistic around trans people tells us that people need to be kinder. During an Instagram live Q&A, Pink did not hold back. Transgender women are women. Only fools oppose that, she declared. It's wild that in 2025, we're still arguing about who gets to exist. Like, come on, use your brain, not your bias. Use your brain, not your bias. I like that. Her statement quickly went viral, earning praise for its directness and unapologetic defense of transgender rights. Known for her fierce advocacy and authenticity, Pink called out what she described as performative cruelty disguised as intellect, making it clear she has no tolerance for attacks disguised as thoughtful debate. It's such a dangerous thing about certain types of transphobia in how insidious it is and how wrapped in false intellect it is, where, like, you know, people are saying that they're just feminists and they're trying to stand up for other people's rights, they're just trying to protect kids, they're coming at it from this like deep political angle, and it's like, no, you're just a dick. Pink closed her live stream with a quip that quickly caught on. If you can't handle other people being happy in their skin, maybe it's your own reflection you're fighting. As J.K. Rowling continues to face backlash, Pink's voice joins a growing chorus of artists and advocates standing firmly in defense of transgender rights. With her signature candor and fearless spirit, Pink reaffirms her place as one of pop's most authentic and outspoken voices. Honestly, I cannot tell you the relief I feel knowing that Pink is not transphobic, because she was somebody that I really admired growing up. I still really like her now. I've always loved her music. I went to see her in concert a couple years ago, and I was meant to go many years ago and then I couldn't. You know, when it's just really nice that people that you've admired don't turn out to be massive disappointments and bigots. It's always good, isn't it? Oh, yay, this person who I've supported the works of for years and really enjoyed their stuff and put money into and time into and feel like emotionally connected to what they create and blah, blah, blah. I don't have to start hating it. Yes. They don't hate me. Yay. Right. Got a little bit of a long post, but it's worth it. So stay with me here. So I'm saying that, but it's also how this post starts. Fun ballet fact. Part of the reason you're supposed to start ballet young is so you stretch and hold your joints in certain ways regularly enough that your body grows different. You know how men who do ballet look only sort of muscular, but then like lift a whole ass person? Their muscles are trained to lie flat like that for flexibility. They don't bulk up. Girl in your class who always stands in turnout, it's likely not just habit, her joints probably sit like that now. I started ballet when I was 6 and stopped after 3 years. I then took a break for 3 years and came back and did jazz ballet, which is most of the same body mods but without turnout, and tap for another couple years. And every physio who works on my body looks at my feet, hips and calves and goes, oh, you danced. I was never even flexible enough to do the splits, but you best believe I stand in turnout. I never went on point, but I'm 95% sure tap is the reason my feet have random spasms if I don't take to them with a tennis ball once a week. Oh my god. When I said I wanted to be a dancer at 6 years old, adults took that to mean I'd want certain permanent alterations to my body. Unlike with young trans kids, no one was looking to make sure I fully understood what I was getting into, and unlike with young trans kids, these changes were not reversible when I changed my mind. There wasn't even a way to delay things to buy time, like puberty blockers. It was all or nothing. If I wanted to be a professional dancer, my normal ass joints were a ticking time bomb. So like, cis opinion, but I really don't have a lot of time for people getting feral about trans kids socially transitioning or going on blockers, or even, when they're old enough for it to be relevant, HRT. Me identifying as a dancer at 6 years old was more physically impactful and less informed than if a 6-year-old changed their name and grew their hair, but you don't see any of the adults in my life getting accused of child abuse. I think it's such a poignant post. There's so many things that highlight the hypocrisy and bigots, and this is one of them, and it's just nice that we have this growing mound of evidence of hypocritical bigotry. It's not the only example, because time and time again we see transphobes being perfectly okay with young kids going through other types of medical treatment, other things that will permanently alter their life path or their bodies, including things like dance and ballet. I know ballet is dance. I don't know why I separated it like that. And also we see that puberty blockers are still readily available and prescribed to cis kids for certain reason, and are still a used medication, because puberty blockers, the medication that is a puberty blocker, is not only used in a gender affirming way for trans kids. It has multiple other uses, and it has been used and specifically used to treat cis kids with precocious puberty for many, many decades. And that is still happening. The only people with restricted access to puberty blockers are trans kids. It's not about protecting kids or protecting anyone from this medication. It's about stopping trans kids from accessing gender affirming treatment. It's denying trans people access to appropriate medical care. So I feel like this is a really kind of nice way, because it entirely separates it from transness as well. It's an example that has nothing to do with medical care or being trans versus being cis. It is just like, well, you let kids do these other things in their lives that will permanently alter how their life goes and certain things in their life, and it's never questioned. But if it's something to do with a kid being trans, oh no, suddenly questioned, which just shows you it is not about protecting children. It is not about being concerned about kids being too young to make permanent choices in their life or going down down routes that can cause permanent changes. It is just about restricting trans kids and trans people. And they're right, puberty blockers and socially transitioning, totally reversible. I wanted to end this video on a very cute sign that somebody sent me from Oslo Pride. I think it was this year. And someone was holding a sign that was painted in like the trans colors. And I believe the translation is dinosaurs are cool, transphobia is not. I do not know if this is after like me saying it or if they've got this from somewhere else, but it is a saying that I have developed on this channel, and it's a big part of like the merch that I do and other things, and it's why there is a little trans and rainbow dinosaur in the background because of that saying, and it's become quite a big part of like my presence on the internet. So even if this isn't from me, and I don't want to be so big-headed to be like, oh my god, they've like taken the saying I've said, blah blah blah, I just think it's really cute. I just really like it. I just like seeing it out in the wild. So thank you to whoever sent that to me. And that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to go check out Squarespace and think about giving the video a thumbs up and subscribing if you want to, but no pressure. You're going to see some beautiful names on the screen. These are my lovely Patreons who support me and help me keep on continuing making this content. So if you want to go check out my Patreon, you can do so down in the description box. But again, there is no pressure. And just giving a big shout out to my top tier Patreons: Ginger Blues, Tig, Night Soul, Sugar Joe, Elden K, Nesta, The Third Hat Man, Max Mix Mods, Dylan Irving, River Champignon, Chloe, Iona Balash, TNS Mum, Sally Drew, Randy, Albar, Marv Mallow, Rachel Raptor, Jesse Emerson, Gosco, Sienna Lamb, Slayer, Sarah Hobbs, The Paisley Prince, Riley Ray, Bill Dad the Shower, AAA_Mars, A Deck of Cards, Claire Henley, and Marin. Thank you so much for supporting me. I really appreciate it. And thank you so much for watching this video. I will see you next time. Much love. Goodbye.